Hello everyone. Before I start, I have to say that I would not recommend children to watch this video. It may contain some inappropriate content. I know I am kinda late, since Halloween was a week ago, but I still hope you enjoy the video. The topic is not totally typical Halloween, however I think it has definitely to do with a ghost. What do you think about it? Please drop a comment with your opinion after you're done watching this special. Enjoy. It was a chilly, gusty and completely overcast day in autumn, on which everyone would rather like to stay inside, in their warm homes, than to go outside, being surrounded by the freezing temperatures. The wind was whistling and withered leaves swished on the ground, making the noises even louder. A large group of people walked through a seemingly deserted part of town. The numerous footfalls echoed through the empty street, revealing the hero's location to their enemies. Suddenly they heard heavy steps coming closer, and soon after the intense fight started, one of the students suddenly felt severe pain spreading throughout his whole body and everything around him dislimbed. The day before, some of Class 1A students currently sat around a huge table next to other pro-heroes, discussing an invasion plan on the base of group of destruction choosing villains. The students will be split in teams. Each group is assigned to work with some of us pro-heroes. Mirko, Todoroki, Kirishima, Mina, Ida, Hagaku and I will be going inside the building, trying to get the villains outside where others will be waiting. The team outside the building includes Gunhead, Ectoplasm, Jirao, Midoriya, Bakugo, Uraraka and Yaoi Orozu. You'll scout outside the base, looking for any escaping villains. Yukio and Tokoyomi will be observing from the sky. If the fighters on the ground need help, don't hesitate to step in. Any questions? No? Then see you all tomorrow. The day of the raid. Izuku stood next to his friends, wishing them good luck for the mission. Please take care. We will, thank you. Good luck, Midoriya. Don't get hurt. Their paths separated and Deku joined up with his group. Midoriya, Bakugo and Ochako, come with me. Let's see if we can find any exits on the back of the building. Right. Jirao and Yaoi Orozu. We'll stay here, in case the villains take the main entrance to escape. Okay. Be careful guys. Thanks Jirao. You too. Whatever. Let's go beat some villains. Bakugo sounded careless, but Izuku knew he was excited and at the same time scared to confront their enemies. After some time of searching and finding nothing but solid wall and cement, they were about to meet up with the others, as the spooky silence was broken by loud crashing sounds. What's going on? Seems like the fight has begun. We should help them. Let's go. Midoriya activated One for All and started running towards the source of the sound, with Gunhead and Uraraka next to him and Bakugo ejecting through the air above his head. They arrived at the battleground, shocked by the scene they witnessed. The two girls, Ectoplasm, Yukio and Tokoyomi, were surrounded by at least 15 villains, struggling to fight them off. Me and Ochako will help them. You go inside and see what's going on. The Wonder duo immediately turned around and headed towards the base. Will they be alright? Once we get the others, yes. They ran through the building and searched in every room they passed by, but they found no one. Here are not even villains. Damn it. There must be some goddamn secret room or something. Let's look over there. Izuku pointed towards the corridor they haven't examined yet, as a strong wind blew in the boys' faces and a blue flash dazzled their shine. All of a sudden the class president and fastest student from everyone in 1A stood in front of them. Midoriya, Bakugo. I'm glad I found you. Ida. Are the others alright? Where are they? The villains trapped us in the back of the base. The room's floor is completely destroyed and they are fighting several meters under the ground. Okay. You go outside and help the others fighting the villains off. I will. Good luck. He turned around and left nothing but a plume of dust behind. The two students quickly started to head toward the back of the building, when something strange happened. Izuku felt someone watching them, so he turned around to see if someone was there. They were alone, so Deku thought he must have imagined things. He turned to go, but was stopped by a sudden force controlling his body. Bakugo, who had already continued running, was annoyed and surprised that the steps behind him stopped dead. "Oh, nerd. Come on." He turned around to see why his classmate stood still, and he was shattered by the suffering look on Midoriya's face. Severe pain stabbed every single part of his body, like needles pierce fabric, when stitching two pieces together. Deku wasn't able to move. Even if he ignored the pain and forced himself to walk, it wouldn't work. He was like frozen to the ground. "I can't move." Izuku stuttered as he pressed out those words, which were almost a whisper. Panic was written all over Katsuki's eyes. Bakugou has never seen Deku like this. In all those years his childhood best friend had never looked at him, being in such pain and begging for it to stop. He didn't know what to do, nor what caused the situation to happen. "I'll get the pro heroes." Bakugou couldn't think of any other way to help him, so that was the best idea he could come up with. Bakugou looked at him a last time, almost feeling the pain Deku was experiencing right now, before he started sprinting towards the room Tenai told them about. He hadn't gotten 5 meters far when villains started to block his way. "Go away, you bastards." While Bakugou fired explosions at his enemies, the pain seemed to increase and Izuku's vision got blurry. "Damn it, I'm passing out." Everything around him started to get completely slim up to the point where even his eyes hurt, like someone just poked them with a hammer. Then everything went black. Meanwhile, outside the shelter, the fight wasn't won yet and some of the students were injured, but they continued fighting no matter the cost. Tenai was running all across the place, picking up his badly wounded classmates and treating their injuries with the medical stuff the pro heroes gave him. He found a safe spot for them to hide and rest until they were able to fight again. Ida started to fight again as soon as he was done getting his friends to safety, while he himself had a deep wound on his. The reason he wouldn't provide for himself was because he didn't want to lose anyone. No one would pass away, he just couldn't let that happen. Ida didn't have the time to treat himself and he thought he'd just take the important resources away for himself. How selfish, he thought. As long as Ida was able to stand, he'd be there for the others. He'd help them and fight for them, even if it meant to take huge and insane risks. He had the feeling that it was his duty to protect them, and also did they save him in desperate moments. The class president felt obligated to give his all for their safety. With a suit full of blood and dirt, he went back to beat up some villains and revenge the things the enemy did to his classmates. With Deku and Bakugou, Katsuki had almost succeeded to defeat the villains that stood in his way, and all he could think about was getting help for Deku. Unlike his permanent grumpy and testy personality, he was completely worried about his classmate. Seeing Deku's once so shiny, wise and gentle eyes fade away, broke something deep inside of him. This emotion was hidden so deep, not even he knew about it, until now. He realized that the Deku he knew could be gone forever. Bakugou got even more furious and he shot as many explosions as he could towards his targets. Katsuki's rage was endless and eventually it would be a wonder if they survived this attack. Finally he calmed down a bit, thinking about the condition Deku was in, but as he started to run towards where he expected two other heroes to be, someone hit the back of his head and almost knocked him out. What the hell, bastard? He quickly turned around and activated his quirk to expand the distance between him and the villain. What the hell, bastard? Suddenly he realized that it wasn't a villain he just shot at, it was Deku. But why would he do something like that? Also, since when was he able to move again? Izuku kept attacking him and Bakugou tried anything to avoid hurting the green-haired boy. He dogged it every single attack, but he was just too fast. Midoriya kept bouncing off the walls like a punch ball. The only difference was that Izuku's strikes hurt so much more. Izuku's point of view. Shortly after the boy thought he blacked out, his body began to prickle like a glass of Coke. The pain was completely gone, but the feeling of weak and unstableness remained. Then a deep void appeared inside of his head and his body began to move on its own. He completely lost control. Yes, I did it. I gotta say, that was an extremely tough one, but I got full control of him now. I kinda felt bad for that boy. That must have hurt so bad. Now let's see what the blonde can do. Izuku was confused, from what he just heard. At the same time, he got angry, just like Bakugao. He was being controlled by a villain, just because he wasn't strong enough to fight him off earlier, and now the enemy, rather, he is attacking Katsuki. On top of it, he wasn't able to do anything but watch, while his vision was still blurry. Midoriya was trapped in his own body. Damn it. All of a sudden Katsuki just stood there, not dodging any of the strikes, like did before. What in the world is Jed doing? Look, nerd. I don't know what's going on right now, but I am certain that this ain't you anymore. Now get your shit together and stop this nonsense. Why should I? It's way too much fun. As if it was that easy. Hopefully he has a plan. Oh, he has one, but it's a very risky and dangerous intention. However, in a few moments they would find out if this was a well-conceived thought or quite the opposite. The possessed student jumped towards Bakugao to land a final hit, but Katsuki wouldn't get defeated that easily. The villain planned on kicking him with Izuku's foot, which made his enemy's plan even easier. He stepped out of the attacker's range, grabbed Midoriya's leg, right before it touched him, and threw him against the wall with such speed, he couldn't even avoid the impact. Sorry Deku, but that had to be done. Izuku quickly stood up again and looked at him. He looked him in the eyes, so deep, you'd think he read his thoughts. Then he walked towards Bakugao, but this time the student noticed that something was off. The boy didn't raise his fist to hit him in the face or run almost faster than either to confuse him. No, he just slowly walked towards his direction. Also, his eyes were different than before. The confident and combative look on his face changed to a tired and weak glance. All of a sudden pain stung Izuku's body and his movement stopped. The ache hit him like a bomb, merciless and hard. But at the same time he was relieved. The feeling within him felt different than before. It still hurt like hell, but the sensation of being trapped kept reducing. It was like the villain inside him shrank with every second that passed. Deku kept fighting against the stranger and he got more and more the control over himself back. Soon the student got exhausted and the pain didn't stop either. But he wouldn't stop until the fight was over. While Izuku was giving it his all to get rid of the quirk user, Bakugao was confused, scared, insecure and mostly clueless about the situation and how to handle it. He was standing in front of Midoriya, looking at him with a puzzled expression on his face, trying to think of any way to help him. It was of no use. Bakugao couldn't help him anyway, cause it was Deku's fight, and his alone. Katsuki began to panic again. He imagined what would happen next and all his visions didn't end fortunate at all. All he wanted to do was free his friend from the evil force that possessed him. Some moments later you could literally see the huge strain taken off Izuku. The shimmer in his eyes returned and his facial traits relaxed. Both of the students were really glad to have defeated the enemy, but the straining work comes at a price. Deku, you did it. We won. Izuku's words were faint, but confident and delightful. The boys' eyes met again and they both shared the same feelings. Gladness, gratitude and mostly that warm feeling after you've accomplished something seemingly impossible. Thanks Kaken. Midoriya sighed, as the exhaustion overflew him and his eyes sunk. Then he collapsed to the ground. Bakugao kneeled next to his friend, while the whole fight was repeated in his mind, with thousands of thoughts swirling around. He was too focused to notice a group of young heroes run towards, although they even shouted his name. Soon he was surrounded by his classmates and buried under a ton of questions. Katsuki lifted Midoriya up and smiled. He knew he was safe now and that's what he currently cared the most about. Surrounded by his friends and some pro heroes he walked towards the exit of the shelter, where they would soon find the battlefield of a successful raid to take down a bunch of